My Gurudev, when I was like 10, he told me, now you're a kid. When you grow up, I want you to be a brahmachari and join the mat and serve my mission. It was like very straightforward thing. Every year he would see me, he would tell me, now you're like this. When you're like this, you're going to grow up and you're going to become a brahmachari and you're going to serve my mission. And so this was very deeply implanted in me from a young age. And like I said, this was my first kind of, this was kind of showing me, whether you call it your destiny or your, this is one of the main life paths you can choose. Obviously you have choice. This is a whole nother topic. You have choice, but it's a question of if you're going to embrace your full destiny, then there's a question. Do you have faith in your guru that he knows ultimately what is your mission in life? What is your destiny in this journey of life? And so for me, he was telling me since I was 10. And so this is my first thing for me. He always was saying this. And every time I would come every year to Vrindavan for Kartik, from 96 throughout till I joined the mat. I only missed like 1 year, 96, 97, throughout those years, and then up till 2005, I was coming pretty much every year. And then I would go to other festivals with him and other places in America and Hawaii and things like that in America. And then when he would come to Badger also, he'd always tell me like, okay, you're going to grow up, become a brahmachari and serve my mission. So this was like, it's implanted in me what I call like the first major cornerstone, word that helps you always kind of refocus on what is your dharma, which is like, for me, he said, your mission is to serve my mission, my spiritual mission. And so what is that? But then naturally, when you have that, it kind of leads to a lot of questions, right? Because when I was just a kid, when you're a kid, everyone's asking, what are you going to be? What are you going to be? And you're also thinking about these things. And for me, growing up, I wanted to be an ice hockey player or a football player or a firefighter. Those were my like three main things. And most of it was like when I was younger, ice hockey, that was my thing. Growing up, my father's Canadian American, so ice hockey comes naturally. I grew up idolizing Gretzky, Gretzky was the man, Wayne Gretzky. And then, there's videos of me like Gretzky suits his skulls, So that was what I grew up wanting to do. And then, I liked firefighting and other kind of athletic activities. And also I could say part of my natural inclination that when I was growing up, I would write poetry and prose. I was into writing a lot. So I was into that kind of thing. But my Gurudev said, like, look, okay, your goal in life, your mission, not only your goal or your mission, is that this is what's going to happen. You're going to grow up, you're going to join the mat, serve my mission as a monk, basically. So this was like a really challenging thing for me going through a few years of my teenage life, because it's like, well, okay, my destiny has been chosen for me. Most people, especially the American ideal of freedom and liberty, it's like, well, I'm going to choose what I want to do with my life. Who is anyone to tell me? And for me, it wasn't a difficult that my Gurudev was telling me. It was more the social pressure that comes from it. Like I remember funny things, like even my sister's marriage. Gurudev sent all the brahmacharis out because you're not supposed to attend a marriage because it leads to that desire it can lead to that desire like, oh, I want to get married. So I remember when my second eldest sister, she was getting married in our house, and Gurudev was like, no, you should leave, and he was like, you should leave, but your family, you can stay, but you're going to be a brahmachari, don't forget, and he said, and I was like, he said like, basically you're going to be a brahmachari, so you shouldn't necessarily, but then he was like, okay, you can stay. It was very sweet, but you go through a struggle obviously as well, because as a young person you don't generally think of your life as becoming a monk. I mean, I'm not like Sankaracharya when he's 9, he wants to take sannyas, Madhvacharya 12. I wasn't like I need to take sannyas. I was actually, to be honest, I was quite critical, not critical, but I was always against the idea of like the false priest who exploits the congregation for their own gain. That was always kind of like my inner, not fear, but like I was never into this idea of, the priesthood who gets, exploits the congregation for their own benefit or for whatever, in any way, kind of, who is not just in a way serving and the selfless ideal of service that I saw in my own Gurudev. So that was even when I was younger, but seeing my Gurudev and seeing, you could see the genuine nature of what they were doing. So that wasn't really a hurdle for me then. But just giving you some of the background, it's like I've been a brahmachari in this ashram for like 16 years now since I joined the Mutt in 2005. And so it was never really my motivation growing up. It was kind of given to me, you could say. And there's some interesting theories I've been talking to people about, like the idea of, how is it genuinely possible to be a celibate monk living a whole life of service to God? And one of the ways is, okay, if you have that very deep, burning mood of renunciation of the world and embracing divine service and the divine calling, if you have that genuinely within you, maybe from past lifetimes or past experiences, then you can embrace that from a young age. But otherwise, generally, if it's a blessing or kind of like a blessing of grace, you could say, or you could call it what you may. But if your guru or someone like that of that high level is basically telling you, okay, this is what you should do, this is what I want you to do, then it gives you that current of force by which you can follow that path, you could say. And where I am now, I'm in a feeling of deep, you could say, solidness, the deep gravity of, this is my path in life. I don't have any conflict internally about, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I supposed to be doing something else? There's a stage in Bhakti that's called like Ganatara, it's like, or, it's Vyuta Vikalpa also. It's like, do this, do that, do this, do that. What is my kind of path in life? But for me, I don't really have any of that because I embraced it long time ago because it was so driven in by my Gurudev and then by my own personal experiences. So this leads me to the second thing. I don't really want to get in at this point of what is the mission itself, because for me, I wasn't so clear about that either. At that time, my Gurudev just told me, like, look, your mission in life is to grow up, become a monk, and serve my mission.